everybody. It's Thursday, April 6th, and we are on week 11 of Herbal Wisdom 101. My name is Wendy Fargo. I'm a master herbalist and an educator, and I'm here to talk to you for a little while about herbs. I have had a couple of questions this week, and I'll address them first before I get into the herbs that I wanted to talk to you about. And one of the questions was, are there specific herbs that I can use to help with anxiety? And I know I've talked about this in previous lives, and so I'll just briefly go over some of them as far as a listing. You know, passion flower is a very good one because it is a nervine and it works with on your central nervous system. Another herb that we're going to talk about tonight is also a very good one for that. St. John's wort is tried and true, been used for years and years and years for anxiety, also for depression. I put it in a product that I have called Brighter Days, which is a formula that I created to help people transition off of antidepressants and that kind of thing, and it helps stabilize your mood. It's got several of those same herbs in it, and depression is kind of complicated, and I'm not a doctor, so all I can tell you is that we do have herbs like skullcap and passion flower, and the one we're going to talk about tonight, motherwort and St. John's wort, that all work with your central nervous system, and they're nervines, so they can help you address some of the physical effects of depression. But, you know, depression comes in many shapes and sizes and for many different reasons. And so as far as that goes, I can't really go any further than that. As far as, you know, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I would say seek help from a naturopath or someone that's licensed to give you more advice on that. I know what works for me, and usually what works for me better than anything is a good dose of sunshine, some time outside. Another thing that has been correlated to depression is static electricity buildup. So, you know, we've talked about in previous lives, I talked to you a little bit about the grounding, you know, taking your shoes off and walking outside in the grass or on the sand, you know, on the earth with your feet. And, you know, 10 minutes of that can totally change your whole life. And it will definitely help you sleep. And it definitely helps you regroup and I'm trying to think of a way of describing it. But anyway, it will help you definitely with sleeping, and will help you with disturbances in your body chemistry, because you are releasing the static electricity that's in your body. It accumulates in your body in a lot of different ways. Some of the ways that are the easiest to detect would be things like wearing a lot of synthetic materials. You know, it's better if you wear natural materials, cotton, linen, silk, those kinds of things. When you start wearing polyester blends and different unnatural fabrics, that is a contributor. Also, wearing shoes that have rubber soles so that you never have that connection with the ground. So that's why I say take your shoes off and drag them around in the yard 10 minutes before you go to bed and watch how different your sleep is. So I hope that helps. And the other question that was directed to me this week actually will be answered with our discussion about these two herbs. So I will, I'll just dive into that, and then the person who asked that question will, I'm sure, get your answer. So tonight, I want to talk to you about 3 different herbs, and then I want to show you one. In fact, maybe I'll do that first. Show and tell. Okay, so I've told you guys when I first started this series, I'm new to this area, to Alpena. I moved up here from living 30 years down in the, west of Hot Springs area in Royal, and it is different. I lived in the Ouachitas, now I live in the Ozarks, and it's different up here. For one thing, I have a heck of a lot of wind. It's very windy here, and I'm still figuring out how to deal with all that. But the foliage and stuff is a little bit different. The things, I know that this stuff is down there, but I don't think it's as big or as prevalent as it is up here. So it's just slightly different. I'm in a little different growing zone, and I'm super excited to see all the stuff that's coming up. It's just like, oh my gosh, I feel like a rich woman because my yard is full of wonderful herbs. But this one is like everywhere, and I was like, what is this stuff? What is this stuff? I mean, you see it driving down the road, you see it in fields. It grows, it likes to grow like in the wet, lower areas where there's a lot of like marshy areas. That's where you usually see it, like in lower fields. Like when I used to drive to Arkadelphia, I remember seeing fields of this stuff, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. What is this? Well, it is this stuff, and it has these cute little yellow flowers, and it grows like in this big clump. Here's some smaller ones. So you have this big clump of stuff, and it kind of looks like Italian parsley. You see the leaves? There's 3 lobes, and they're, I don't know if you can see it. It's 1 leaf with 3 lobes. Oopsie, there you go. See it? Here's a bigger one. And it looks like Italian parsley. I'm thinking, do I have parsley growing in my yard? Well, no. And you can also tell, because I thought that maybe something was wrong with it, but one of the characteristics of it is the leafy, parsley look leaf, but it also has a white blemish on it. It's another way you can identify this. This is called creeping buttercup. And it's so cute, and it's so sweet, and it's so everywhere. I have it everywhere in my yard right now. And it's like, what is this stuff? And it's kind of like, it grows clumpy, so it feels kind of strong. When you step on it, it's like a bunch of it. And then it has branches that branch out, and it creeps. So that's why it's called creeping buttercup. Well, I found out a few things about creeping buttercup. Let me see. I wrote down some stuff. Here it is. Creeping buttercup. The leaves look like flat parsley. It has the tiny yellow flowers, and the flowers you can tell because they have 5 petals. So those of you that have taken my intro course, is this a dicot or a monocot? Just asking. Okay, it's got 5 petals. The leaves grow right off the stem, and it's got stamen that comes down like this. It hangs down. So, super cute. Here's what the bees love it. And there's a certain bee especially that loves it. It's called the short-tongued bee. And it really is a blessing to the bees. So don't mow it down and don't kill it. But it is kind of invasive. Like, I got it everywhere. But that's okay. I don't mind. I don't have a typical yard anyway. It is also a natural pest control. So what you might want to do is grow some in pots and set your pots in and around your garden areas, or, you know, places where you have some pest issues. If you don't want to grow it in your grass, pot it up. It has some history. It has been known to sustain people in times of famine. I always wonder sometimes, you know, I've always been a believer that God gives us what we need in the times when we need it. And the reason I believe that is because I have had herbs come up out of nowhere. Mullein was one of them. And I always pray. It's like, okay, Lord, you know, show me what it is that your people need this year. You know, just give me whatever it is that they need this year. And I'll do the work. I'll do the research. I'll figure out how to use it and how to, you know, integrate it into things. And you just give me what it is that your people are going to need this year. And some years I'll have just all kinds of stuff come up, and then the next year it'll be gone. And maybe I would have never had it before. So this buttercup thing, who knows? But in times of famine, it's been known to sustain societies. It's important to cook it, though, or dry it thoroughly, because it has a toxin in it in this state. It has kind of a sap, and it's toxic. So not like it's not going to kill you, but it will make you not feel well. You'll have tummy trouble. Hang on. Drop something. So you want to cook it if you're going to cook it, or I'm going to just harvest the mess of it, a whole bunch of it. I'm going to dry it in my dehydrator because I've already got plans for this stuff. It contains, like I said, a substance that's toxic in this state, and it's like raw state. So you need to either dry it or, and the cows, I read something about the cows won't eat it when it's fresh because they know that it has that toxin in it and it'll taint their milk. But when they harvest it, when they mow it and turn it in with grass, you know, for hay, and just, you know, wrap it in there with the rest of the hay, and it dries, they eat it fine. So one or the other, cook it or dry it. Okay, medicinal properties. You can use this sweet little thing to treat wounds, skin conditions, digestive problems, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? Just make sure you use it in the right form. It kills bacteria and fungus. It's great for infections for that reason. It's anti-inflammatory, so it's really good for things like eczema and psoriasis. I'm going to add it to my Soother blend. You can grind the roots and the leaves into a fine powder and mix it with oil or water and make a paste and put it like right on a wound. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry it and infuse it into an oil, like the oils that I use to make other things, and use it in that form. It's an analgesic. It's helpful for joints, mainly gout and rheumatism. You can rub it, it's like topically, fibromyalgia, the pain from fibromyalgia, and shingles. And as a tincture, it's good for sciatica. Creeping buttercup. It's good for arthritis, nerve pain, skin problems, and swelling. And right now, if you live anywhere near where I live, it is everywhere. It usually blooms anywhere from April to July. So it's got a fairly long period of time where you can collect this beauty up and use it. But oh my gosh, who knew, right? I mean, I knew that stuff was out there, but I thought when you see it in a field, you see the tall yellow flowers, you don't see the creeping stuff underneath. And I never realized that the two were connected. I just thought the flowers were pretty and that they were, you know, some kind of mustard or something. I don't know, but creeping buttercup. So cute. So that's my show and tell. Now let's talk about a couple of really splashtastic herbs that I love, love, love. In fact, I am drinking a tea made with both of them tonight. Okay, let's talk about, we're going to talk about motherwort first. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of motherwort for you, but if you type in images of motherwort, W-O-R-T, on Google, you can see pictures of it. I will have it growing here by the end of summer. It can get pretty tall. It kind of looks like a marijuana plant. In its leaves, it's like got skinnier leaves, but that same look. It's actually really, really pretty. But this herb is amazing. And that's the thing I love about herbs. You know, they've been around forever, and God gave them to us for all of the things that, you know, he knew from the very beginning what we were going to be doing to ourselves and the condition our bodies were going to be in. But before that, you know, I got really tickled. I don't know if any of you ever watched the movie Noah. But I was really excited when I saw that his wife, when she was prepping the ark, she had all her herbs hanging up drying inside the ark, bringing all her herbs, all her medicine with them. And I thought, you know, from the very beginning, God has provided for us. And as usual, we've always thought that we know better. And, you know, everything's ramped up. Now you've got to concentrate everything and make it bigger, better, more powerful, blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe, but really you probably wouldn't even have the need for that if you would just back it down a few notches and live like you're supposed to live, eat like you're supposed to eat, and take care of your earth suit. Okay, motherwort. This herb is, funny enough, part of the mint family, and it grows worldwide. You can find this everywhere. It's the herb that it's used to calm anxiety and lower blood pressure. So it grows small pink little flowers on large green leaves. And like I said, these leaves kind of look, I don't know, it gets kind of bushy, like a bush, but Google it and take a look at it. It reduces your risk of heart disease. Why? Because it's a vasodilator. It opens up it dilates your vascular system. So your blood's flowing better, and it will lower your blood pressure. So I'll probably have to be careful with drinking too much of it because I already have low blood pressure and I don't need to go into a coma. But it's late enough tonight. I thought, maybe it'll just put me to sleep. It's good for menopausal symptoms and for menstruation. It's known for reducing anxiety and treating high blood pressure, like I said. So the cool thing about it is it got its name motherwort because mothers who were anxious about raising their children would drink it and it would calm them. So it's not toxic. It doesn't have any issues. It doesn't, mess with you as a pregnant lady or anything. And it won't, it doesn't have any of those effects, and it doesn't contradict with any kinds of medications. The active ingredients, there's quite a list, but the ones that I want to point out are the terpenoids and the flavonoids and the sterols, because they play into the whole anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antimicrobial aspects of the herb. There's a bunch of other things: citric acid, malic acid, oleic acid, choline, alkaloids, iridoids, lots of oids, but it works with your central nervous system like passion flower and calms you. It's very calming. So it's also very good for things like IBS, digestive issues, because it is anti-inflammatory and it calms. Again, it's just a calming herb. So it's one that you would really benefit from adding to a blend, you know, a tea blend or whatever, if you're trying to make something that will, you know, I like to always double and triple dip if I can. And if you've got blood pressure issues, you know, more than likely you have anxiety issues as well. They kind of go together sometimes. It boosts your immunity. It opens up your lungs, and it's good for asthma and bronchitis for that reason. Why? Because it's a vasodilator. So it treats dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis, shingles. So what's not to love about this herb? And it's super easy to grow. I mean, it will reseed itself. It's very easy to grow. Another thing that I thought was interesting was that it is very helpful to your kidneys because it increases your flow of urine, and so it keeps your kidneys working. You know, it keeps the urine flowing through and keeping that organ cleansed, you know, flushed. One of the first signs of some kidney issues would be that you can't pee. So drinking some motherwort tea, you know, now and then will help your kidneys stay functioning well. Some dosage information here. If you're using a powder, 2 to 4 grams 3 times a day. If you're using a tincture, 2 to 6 milliliters 3 times a day. If you're going to make it as a tea, teaspoon of the dried herb in a cup of boiling water, steep for 10 minutes 3 times a day. If you're using it for medicinal aspect, you know, properties. Like I said, I'm just drinking it because I think it might help me sleep. Not that I have super bad issues sleeping, but sometimes, you know, we'll see. I'm drinking it. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you about this lovely herb? Oh, I have it right here. Hang on. Heart health, anxiety, menopause. It likes bright, sunny places with humus-rich soil. Can be grown from seeds in the spring or early summer. Be propagated from roots in autumn or late spring. Some people, of course, consider it a bothersome weed, like they do plantain and any of those other fantastic herbs. Okay. No real side effects that you need to be worried about. I mean, as with anything, I will say, you know, all things in moderation. You don't want to, unless you're trying to really attack something and trying to cure something where you might have to megadose for a few days, you know, your best bet is to just do things in moderation and just make sure your body responds like you want it to. Okay? It's antispasmodic. Makes it used for ages to regulate a rapid and irregular heartbeat. So if you've got irregular heartbeat or a rapid, you know, there's motherwort. You combine that with some lemon balm, and you've got a really good blend for your heart rate. Good one, because lemon balm lowers your heart rate too. It stabilizes it if it's, you know, one way or the other. It's good for PMS. It's good for pregnancy and delivery. Why? Because it's calming. It's antispasmodic. It's, another thing that I thought was interesting was it's used to bring down the chances of postpartum depression. And it also contributes to healing the uterus and bringing the uterus back to normal after childbirth. It helps to expel the placenta. So, all good things. I don't have children, not going to have any more children, but I know that a lot of my viewers have young families, so that might be something. It also helps deal with the symptoms of hyperthyroidism. That's when your thyroid is overactive. Which would then be able to detract from the metabolism, nervous system, and sense of a person. Sleeplessness, decreased appetite, helps to manage all of those symptoms. Heart palpitations, overactive thyroid. Again, I can't really relate to that. I think if anything, mine's a little sluggish, but I have low blood pressure. I mean, all my stuff just kind of moves a little slow, but we make it work. Lung issues. Vasodilator helps to open up the lungs, thereby helps to relieve lung issues like asthma and bronchitis. Dermatitis, I talked about that. So, this one, it maybe should be on your herb list as one that you want to get, that you want to start growing, unless you already have it growing, who knows. It has pretty little pink flowers that it comes at one point, and the rest of the time it's a really pretty plant to look at. It would make a good addition to like a landscaped area, you know, because it's really pretty. And I do believe it'll reseed, because I remember mine, I would have it coming up in other places sometimes, but you want to use the aerial parts of the plant. That's everything above ground. You don't need to dig the roots up on this one. Okay. So, high blood pressure, reducing anxiety, skin and rash issues, menopause and menstruation, pregnancy and delivery, IBS, fibromyalgia, lowers your bad cholesterol, rapid heartbeat, boosts your immunity, good for your lungs, asthma and bronchitis, kidneys, it's anti-inflammatory, IBS. It's a great herb. And it's one that, you know, this is what it looks like when it's dried and ground up. This is my motherwort jar. So it has a, I think it has a great smell. Of course, I like the smell of herbs, but it smells really fresh and makes a pleasant tea. So, motherwort. It's a lot of bang for your buck on that one. Super easy to grow. You know, it'll die back in the winter, and then it'll come back. Unless you have a winter from hell, like it's been known to happen these days. Crazy weather, but I'm hoping we're on the downhill side of that mess. Boy, the other night we had another big old storm though. And for me, it's all about the wind, you know, but I don't know. We don't have it nearly as bad as some people, so I am not going to complain about that. Okay, the next one that I wanted to talk to you about is down here. I ran out of ink on my printer and did not take the time to go buy any this afternoon, so I'm having to use my computer. But it's okay. Oh, this cute little buttercup. So cute. Let me just make sure I covered everything. And you know, people are always looking for help with shingles. So you've got two herbs, buttercup, this creeping buttercup, and motherwort, that both assist with the pain of shingles. And I've already told you about peppermint. So motherwort and peppermint are both in the mint family, which makes some sense. But you know, you never know until you need it. I mean, you never know you're going to need it till you need it. So have in the back of your mind those herbs. Or if you know somebody, you know, that just all of a sudden wakes up and they've got shingles, you can help them. Okay? There's more of a list with these buttercups. There's somebody was talking about using it for mouth sores, like as in a rinse. It's thought to be the most effective homeopathic treatment for treating shingles, especially when shingles take place on your body's trunk. Okay. One of the best remedies for treating negative impacts of consuming extreme alcohol: delirium, tremens, and spasmodic hiccups. Oh, so if you've got hiccup issues, and I know somebody who does, this cute little buttercup might be the answer for that. Might have to make you up a little special blend of tea with some buttercup and some motherwort. Okay, so the last one that I want to talk to you about is this baby. Fig leaf. You know, we always think about fig leaves as, you know, part of the Mediterranean palate. You know, things that we eat rolled up in fig leaves, and Greek food and that kind of stuff. But fig leaves are really, really powerful medicine. And I have fig leaves in my tea with my motherwort tonight. Let's see, where do I start? It's categorized in the group of mulberry trees. The figs are. And the health benefits of this leaf are sourced from the availability of minerals, vitamins, and high fiber included in the fruit. They also compose of high levels of advantageous nutrition like vitamin A, B1 and B2, and calcium, iron, phosphorus, manganese, sodium, potassium, and chlorine. Some of the health advantages that can be acquired from fig leaves. First of all, it's really high in fiber, so it's a great great thing to drink if you have constipation. It's a natural laxative. You know, it's not going to tear you up, but it will help relieve constipation. Weight loss. A lot of people use fig leaf tea as part of their weight loss regimen because, again, it's really high in fiber. And it's got some good components to help utilize calories. So it's good for weight loss in that sense. I mean, if you're trying to lose weight naturally and in a healthy way, you don't want to just, you know, there's more to it than just calories in, calories out. That's the premise of losing weight. But if you can help your metabolism change, or at least function the way it's supposed to change, it's supposed to function, then your body will utilize all of the things, the tools that you give it in a good way, and assist with bringing your body to its ideal weight. You know, everybody has an ideal weight, and it isn't always the cover of a magazine. You know, I mean, our bodies are all designed differently, and our lifestyles are all different, and we're not all going to look the same. And women were not designed to look like men or boys. We have our own shape. We have our own bone structure. You know, if we we couldn't have babies if we were designed like boys. So, you know, when we reach certain ages, our metabolism changes and things slow down. And yeah, you sort of have to work with, you know, your hormone changes and things like that. But at the end of the day, you do have an ideal weight, and you have an ideal weight for that time in your life. So that doesn't give you a license to be unhealthy. But if you are living a healthy lifestyle and you are, you know, taking care of your body, getting enough exercise, whatever that looks like, and enough isn't too much. Okay, it's enough. And eating the right portions and the right types of foods and giving yourself the nutrients that your body needs, your body will work its way to its ideal weight. I'm not lying. Okay? And we're not always happy with that because it doesn't look like we want to look, or maybe we can't fit into the clothes we used to wear when we were 30. But, you know, it's okay. At least our skin is right and our vision is good and our hair is on our head and, you know, our bodies are functioning. So just don't go down that road. Just stay healthy. Stay healthy and stay fit and see what your body does. Okay? Let's see. What else? It'll lower your cholesterol. You know, people are always asking me, I bet you I get that question every day. Somebody asks me, well, what can I do to help lower my cholesterol? Well, we talked about a couple of herbs tonight, didn't we? Motherwort and fig leaf. Green tea. There's lots of ways to lower your cholesterol. Stop eating the high cholesterol junk processed food. As a water-dissolved fiber, pectin from fig leaves also triggers regular bowel functions. Okay, we talked about that. But that also comes into play with your cholesterol level, believe it or not. Dr. Christopher used to tell us that all the time. Everything starts with your bowels. All disease starts with your bowels. And we used to go, really? Yep, it does. So that's why a lot of times his protocols were kind of a little bit unconventional. The first thing he'd do is give somebody an enema. But it's because your bowels that's the starting point. And, you know, week before last, I did Hulda Clark's liver and kidney liver and gallbladder cleanse. And I'm telling you, I felt like a new person the next day. It really does make a difference. And I thought, why do I not do this more often? So I promised myself this year that every season I would do that cleanse for my liver and my gallbladder, because man, it just makes you feel so good and you just feel clean. It kickstarts everything, and you want to, it's an encouragement, you know. I really encourage you guys to do it. Let me see. Dried fig leaves have phenol, omega-3, and also omega-6. These fatty acids lower the chance of coronary heart attacks. In addition, the leaves of figs have a greater significance on the level of triglycerides in a person's system. Fig leaves have a deterrence reaction on triglycerides and resulting in the total volume of triglyceride reducement. It's kind of a weird word. Reduction is the word. Triglycerides are mainly great causes. This has been translated weird. But anyway, we know what triglycerides contribute to heart attack. So it also is a good preventative for colon cancer. Fig leaves. I promise you guys, you need to start using your fig leaves. Every day, chew 2 fig leaves and swallow the whole leaf. People with advanced ulcers should do this in the morning on an empty stomach. Again, because of the fiber content, I think. Postmenopausal breast cancer. fig leaves. This one I really like. Good for diabetic patients. The Diabetes Group Association advised fig leaves as a rich fiber meal that can increase greater control of diabetes. Fig leaves lower the volume of insulin required by a diabetic sufferer who has to sometimes perform insulin injections. Fig leaves are high in potassium, which tries to govern the volume of sugar, which is digested in the body after eating. So it's also a good preventative for hypertension. They're rich in potassium and reduce sodium. So those two things work together to help you with hypertension. Turning fig leaves calms the nervous system and provides some warmness in your daily life. Bronchitis treatment. The native compounds found in fig leaves have always been alternatively used for more respiratory diseases like bronchitis, and is also consumed as a method to avoid and reduce asthma. Place 2 or 3 fig leaves in a ½ liter of water with some, this one says some sugar, but I would say honey, maybe. Bring to a boil, let the water boil for 20 minutes, and then remove the leaves and drink the tea. Okay, so I don't like you to boil things. So boil your water first, put your fig leaves in there, cover it, and steep it for 20 minutes. Make sure the water is good and hot, but don't boil the leaves. There's some pregnancy treatments on here. It even has worked in studies for sterility. It'll strengthen your bones because it's very high in calcium. Very high in calcium. Again, it's a natural source of calcium, and I'm always telling you, get your calcium from natural sources. It'll help lower the volume of uric acid in your body. So those of you that suffer with gout, this is a good thing for you to do, along with celery juice, eliminating eggs and that kind of thing. If you've got gout, that'll take care of it. Cherries. Throat pain. Good for sore throats. So, they're not just for eating. Calcium intake. Weight loss. It even says something in here for, was utilized in Southeast Asia and a few other surrounding areas of the world. They created a salve with the fig leaves for venereal infections. So the bottom line is, fig leaves are antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial. They will help with lowering your uric acid levels. They will help with asthma. They will help with heart issues, cholesterol, diabetes, coronary heart disease, constipation. Can't really go wrong with fig leaves. And, you know, you could plant a couple trees and then you could eat the figs. If you like figs, make jam. I love figs. I brought my fig tree with me from where I used to live. It doesn't have any leaves on it yet. I hope the winter didn't kill it, but if it did, I'll have to get me some more, because I do love my fig trees. Okay. So the easiest way to use fig leaves, like I said, unless you're just going to chew them, you know, like it did recommend for something, constipation, I think. But I like to just pick the leaves and dry them. Put them in my dehydrator and dry them until they're crunchy, and then put them in a jar. And then you can use them. You can make whatever you want to with them. You can make an oil, so you could make a salve with them, or you could make tea. It makes a really nice tea. It's a great tea. In fact, this tea that I'm drinking tonight is really good. I'm gonna have this again. It's delicious. So plant yourself a little stevia plant out there and pick a few leaves off that and drop it in with your tea, and you'll have things all sweet and nice and all out of your own yard. I can't really emphasize enough that I feel like times are coming where you are going to need to be able to conduct your own, well, you're just going to need to be able to take care of yourself and your family. You're going to need to be able to know what herbs do certain things so that you can stay healthy, so that you can combat sickness, so that you can get nutrients from things when maybe food is scarce. You know, I read an article just a day before yesterday about what the plans are for our food, and apparently now they have created ways to inoculate the cows and the chickens with a potion, with a cocktail that contains the spike proteins and the other things that we've been trying to avoid from other types of shots and things. And now they're just going to put it into our animals. And so those of you that are meat eaters, you might want to find a neighbor who's raising their own grass-fed cows, or get yourself some chickens, you know, so you can know what they've eaten and what they're taking in and what they're not getting. It's just, you know, it's a time. It's a time that we're living in that will pass, and we'll all be better for it. And I think it's a time where people are being encouraged to cut the ties and think for themselves again and seek out their own ways to sustain themselves and their families. And for me, this is my slot. This is my niche. This is my service, I guess you could say. And that is to help you know about the things that are growing around you and what they can do and how they can help you and how they can serve you, because they're all gifts. Our provision is out there. And even if you live in the city, you know, there's ways. My sister lives in Idaho, and she has herself a little hydroponic garden in her dining room. It's a vertical garden, and it's so cute. And she FaceTimes me and shows me her lettuce growing and her different things she's got growing, and I think it's wonderful. So there's really no excuse. I mean, if you really, you know, I talked to you a couple weeks ago about sprouting. You know, you can get a lot of nutrition from sprouts, and it doesn't take up any room, and it doesn't require a whole lot water. And wheatgrass, you know, so alfalfa sprouts, sunflower sprouts, bean sprouts, wheatgrass, all of those things will keep you alive and probably keep you lean. You know, you'll have energy, your brain will work well. So there are things you can do, and I'm here. If you have any questions or if I can help you in any way, please let me know. And on that note, I want to remind everybody, those of you that have registered for our Weeds and Wisdom homeschooling workshop, I had a group of people that could not make it for the 21st because they had already planned a field trip for that day. So I have opened it up to the Thursday before that. So to be the 20th and the 21st. We're actually going to have 2. But if you are interested in doing that, then you need to go ahead and go on to the Crooked House Herbal's website, go down to Workshops and Learning, and sign up, because I will close registration about 6 days before time, so I can get letters out to everybody and make sure everybody's got their books ordered, or if they want to buy them from me when you get here so that I can order them. Anyway, just get things prepared. I have a lot of preparation that I put into those workshops, but I'm excited about it because I think it's really important that we teach our kids. It's all part of conquering the fear. It's all part of moving past that fear and having confidence and knowing, and the old saying, knowledge is power. Well, I love to see kids that know. There was a little girl that was with her daddy at one of the events I was doing, and she had her little bag, a little purse thing on her, little backpack purse. And she came up to my table and I said, wow, that is the cutest purse. Where'd you get that? She said, oh, this isn't a purse. This is my medical bag. And I said, oh, what's in it? And she opened it up and she had all these little containers of essential oil. She could tell me each one what it does. And she says that way, if anybody gets hurt, or if anybody gets stung by a bee, or if this is a happen, this is the one I use for that. This is the one I use for that. That just blessed me. So I talked to her about some other things, some different plants. I said, do you know what this plant does? And she was so excited. She must have been like 9. She wasn't even very old, but she was really excited about that. Whole world was opening up to her, and it's empowering. It's empowering. It's empowering to adults, but it's really empowering to kids. So I encourage you to encourage your children. And if there's any way that you can get them here, then please do. If not, then, I am going to try to do some online stuff, but it's not the same. You got to get out there. You got to get dirty. So I'm looking forward to seeing those of you that are registered, and we're going to have a good time. I will do another workshop in May. It's going to build on this one. It's going to be create your own first aid kit. And we'll build on what we've learned from this one. I also, like I said last week, I'm still taking feedback on whether or not anyone is interested in an online course, other than the one I already have on my website, because I do have one on my website already. That's an intro class. It's like 7.5 hours of instruction. It's got tutorials. It's got a manual. You get a kit with it. When you order it, you get a kit. So check that out first. But if it's not exactly what you're looking for, and if you want something else, or if you've already taken all my intro classes and you want something different, please let me know, because I will put it together and do it. We'll do it probably via Zoom, or, one of those Google Meet or something. Anyway, that's all the chatter. And I wish you a very blessed Resurrection Sunday weekend. I hope you're going to have some good time with your families, and remember the reason for the season. And I will see you next week. Next week's our last Facebook Live in this series. So I'll probably do a little reviewing, and we'll talk about whatever questions you may have come up between now and then. On that, I will say God bless, and remember that nature heals you best. Bye now.